Business isn't built on praise, it's built on truth. The Mom Test Part 2. In the silence of the night, a founder is once again sitting in front of his laptop. This time, he has an idea, he has confidence, and he also has the praise of a few people. Everyone has said that the concept is good. Some said, this will change the market. Some said, if a tool like this comes out, we will definitely use it. From the outside, it looks like success is now just a few steps away. But the real fear is hidden right here. Because in the startup world, the most dangerous thing is not failure, but false confidence. And the curiosity is this. If people are listening to you, smiling, praising you, and yet your product still is not working, then where exactly is the mistake happening? In the first part, we understood that a business idea should not be validated through approval, but through the customer's problem. We saw that people are often polite, supportive, and many times tell you exactly what you want to hear. That is why the core lesson of the Mom Test was this. Do not ask about your idea, ask about the customer's life. The central thought of Rob Fitzpatrick's book is also exactly this. How to pull real learning out of customer conversations, especially when people are not telling you the full truth. The book's official site describes it as a practical handbook for getting more learning and more sales out of customer conversations. And Rob Fitzpatrick describes himself as an entrepreneur who ran bootstrapped and VC-backed companies, raised funding, and built globally used products for brands like Sony and MTV. But from here, the story becomes more difficult. Because just understanding the right direction is not enough. The real challenge comes when you go out to collect data. That is when you realize that not every answer is useful, not every piece of feedback is valuable, and not every conversation gives insight. Many times, you talk to people for hours, you do meetings, you do calls, you make notes, and still, you do not end up with anything that can help you make a decision. That is why the real issue of this second part is this: how to avoid bad data and how to ask important questions. In the world of business, useless data is very dangerous because it gives you the wrong confidence. If someone says, I really liked your work, it sounds good. If someone says, the idea is very cool, it gives energy to the ego. If someone says, you will go very far, motivation increases. But the problem is that none of these things help you improve the product. You cannot decide pricing from them. You cannot understand market fit from them. You cannot know whether the other person will actually buy or not. That means this feedback gives emotional value, not business value. This is where the entrepreneur's first big test begins. Will he become happy after hearing praise, or will he recognize the emptiness hidden behind the praise? If someone says, your idea is very good, stopping there is the mistake. The real question should begin right there. Good in what sense? Which part felt useful? When was the last time you faced this problem? How do you solve it right now? Where is the frustration in the current method? Until the other person starts talking about his behavior, pain, urgency, and context, the feedback is only air. The second form of bad data is vague answers. Like when someone says, the concept is good, it could just be a little better. It sounds like constructive feedback, but in reality, this too is incomplete. Better in what way? Better for whom? In speed? In design? In cost? In simplicity? In reporting? If the founder stops there, he gets nothing. But if he follows up, if he takes the other person into detail, only then will clarity come. Which means a big part of customer conversation lies not in hearing answers, but in unpacking answers. The third kind of bad data is even more dangerous: approval-seeking responses. This is the place where the founder creates the trap himself. He asks questions whose practical answer will only be yes, like, if a tool saves your time, would you use it? Now who will say no? Or, wouldn't it be nice if there were a cheap and easy app? Obviously, people will say yes, but this is not validation. This is just a language trap. You ask the question in such a way that the answer became predictable. That is why the Mom Test repeatedly talks about avoiding biased feedback. The official site also clearly says that the book focuses on practical challenges: how to avoid biased feedback, how to ask questions that give real data, and how to understand whether someone will actually buy or not. The meaning is clear. A founder's job is not to collect yes, but to find reality. People often think that a good interviewer is the one who speaks smartly. But in customer learning, the smart one is the one who listens patiently. Active listening here is not just a skill, it is a survival tool. Even more important than what the other person is saying is why he is saying it. What is the tone of his voice? Which things he goes into detail on? Which things he quickly moves past? Where irritation shows? Where hesitation appears? Many times, the customer's problem is understood less from his words and more from his emphasis. And one very common mistake also happens here: interrupting in the middle. The founder becomes impatient. He feels he has understood what the other person is saying. He quickly puts his solution forward. That is where the game ends. The moment you start explaining your idea, the conversation changes from learning to pitching. The other person now starts thinking not about his problem, but about your feelings. Now he will be polite before being honest. And the moment politeness increases, truth decreases. That is why follow-up questions are very powerful. If a customer says it should have a reporting feature, the founder should not immediately write it down and start building it. He should ask, when do you need reporting? How do you do this work today? What is the most irritating step in this process? If this feature does not exist, what is the biggest loss? Through these questions, the real reason behind the feature request comes out. Many times, the customer does not want the feature, he wants the outcome. And if the founder understands the outcome, he can build a simpler and better solution. One example gives a very deep lesson here. A founder worked with MTV on an analytics dashboard. He thought that since it was a large media company, they would need a complex solution. He filled the dashboard with data filters, segmentation, and analysis options. From the outside, it looked impressive. Perhaps everyone nodded during the demo. Perhaps the founder also felt that he had done a great job. But the problem was that he had not asked the right questions. In reality, MTV did not need a heavy, complex dashboard. They needed a simple system through which they could create clear, quick, and usable reports for their clients. That means the founder built the product according to his imagination, not according to the customer's real need. This is exactly where bad data and assumptions together create big damage. You spend months, build features, the other person even remains polite, but in the end, the deal slips away. Rob Fitzpatrick's official author profile also mentions building products for MTV. So this kind of lesson matches the book's approach. Building without understanding the real customer need becomes costly. The summary of this whole section is this: praise is not data, vague response is not clarity, and approval is not validation. If a founder does not control his ego, he will mistake every positive sentence for progress. But in business, real progress is only that which changes the decision, makes the direction clear, and reduces risk. Now comes the matter of important questions. Because avoiding bad data is half the battle, asking the right questions is the other half. No successful product is built suddenly. Behind it are focused questions asked again and again. Questions that open up the customer's past behavior, present struggle, and real priority. So before any conversation, the founder should ask himself, what do I really want to know? Do I want to understand how painful the problem is? Do I want to know how the customer is managing it right now? Am I testing whether this market is large enough? Or am I trying to understand whether people will pay for it or not? Until this clarity exists, the questions too will remain scattered. And when the questions are scattered, the data will also come back scattered. That is why a good interviewer first decides the learning goal, then forms the questions. He does not run the conversation on random curiosity. He listens with purpose. Open-ended questions are very valuable here. Questions that can be answered with yes or no shut the conversation down. But which task wastes the most of your time? When did this problem last happen? What did you do then? What was missing in that approach? Such questions force the customer to think. They bring out the story. They bring out the context. They bring out the pattern. And pattern is the real foundation of business insight. But there is one more difficult thing here. Many times, the honest answer will be negative. Many times, the customer will say the problem is not that big. Many times, he will say the current workaround is enough for him. Many times, you will discover that the pain point you imagined is not that urgent at all. These are the moments where a founder's heart can break. But the truth is this: at the early stage, negative learning is far more useful than positive illusion. If a weakness becomes visible now, you can change it now. If that same weakness becomes visible after launch, the cost will be much higher. This is where product risk and market risk come in. Product risk means, can this thing even be built? And will it be usable? Market risk means, even if it gets built, will people want it, afford it, adopt it, and will it be scalable? Many entrepreneurs understand customer pain, but forget build feasibility. Some people build the product, but overestimate market demand. Real understanding is that both have to be seen together. Another example explains this point very well. A startup founder thought of an app to track the fertility of farm animals, so that farmers could improve birth rates and revenue. When the farmers were spoken to, they liked the idea. They said existing tools were expensive. A cheaper option could be useful. The founder got excited. He began to see the market. He began to see scale. He began to see money. But he did not ask the biggest question. Was it even technically possible? Could it actually be made workable on the ground? The result was that he spent months building something that practically did not work at all. That means customer interest alone is not enough. You also have to ask yourself hard questions. Can this be built? Are the resources there? Does the team have the capability? Is the timing right? Are there obstacles in regulation, hardware, environment, behavior, or adoption that can bring the idea crashing to the ground? If the founder does not do this self-questioning, then he will hear the market's praise and forget the product's reality. So the lesson of the second part is very clear. In the first part, we learned that we should understand the problem, not the idea. And now we have seen that to understand the problem, it is not enough just to talk to people. You must also know how to collect the right data. You have to stay careful of praise. You have to open up vague feedback. You have to avoid approval-seeking questions. You have to do active listening. You have to follow up. And most importantly, you have to ask tough questions not only to the customer, but also to yourself. Because in the world of business, many ideas do not fail because they were foolish. They failed because the founders treated the wrong signals as the right ones. They mistook compliments for evidence. They mistook excitement for demand. They mistook possibility for certainty. But the story is still not complete, because now the biggest question remains. If you have asked the right questions, avoided bad data, and understood the risk, then how do you turn these conversations into action? When should you understand that now the idea should move forward? When should you pivot? And when should you clearly step back? The next part will bring exactly that most important turn, where it will no longer be just about talking, but about learning how to make the right decisions.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.